Are we recording? We are recording. Alright, so we're at a commercial place. We were just here a few days ago, I think. And it wasn't fixed. So I am gonna try to fix it. See what we can find. So first I'm going to check the outside unit because I don't know where this air handler is. I know where one is up in the ceiling, but I don't know where the other is. I'm just going to see if it's calling or what it is doing from the thermostat. We got power at the thermostat. There's no batteries in it, so it tells me that the unit's running. Alright, we got a contactor pulled in. So we're going to check power. So if you show up, pop that off, and contactor pull in, the first thing I do is I grab my meter. We're going to check power, see if we're getting voltage going through it. And we got 0 volts. Okay, so it just doesn't have power. Well, that's easy enough. Fix that. I'm gonna leave this off. This right here is our disconnect. You're gonna shut this off and open it. And then I like to just make sure there's fuses. We're gonna check power going across here. And then we're gonna go look for a giant panel. Nothing. All right. Gotta look for a giant panel. I like to leave that disconnect off. So if we do find a trip breaker, we can make sure that it doesn't trip when we're across the building or something. That's good. The one that's off, 30 amp. Hopefully I didn't fry anybody. Alright, we're recording. So I found a breaker off. Not exactly sure if it's what we're looking for or not. Before I turn this disconnect on and just wing it. It was off, so it wasn't tripped. So that means they turned it off for some reason. And that one's not it. So we need to go back to the drawing board. Be a lot of walking. I'm not working on these diesels like they are, but they're probably making good money. I'm just walking the building just to make sure there's not another panel somewhere. I don't see one. Alright, so I just turned one off and on. It was on. You had no power. That one was labeled condenser. Get my screwdriver and see if we can figure it out. Man. I'm getting 120 on each leg of this breaker. 212, 210. That one's labeled to the condenser. I think we got the breakers somewhere else. There's just a lot of noise in here, but I just took this panel off. I checked the cables and get 120. I didn't check 120 outside, which I probably should have. But I'm not getting 240 across incoming, which is kind of weird. But I am getting it here, so it tells me there's probably a break somewhere in the line. Alright, let's see what we got. Ground. Nothing. They got a break in the wire somewhere. So upon investigation, they have had an electrical company come out recently and add a new breaker for an outlet, and I'm guessing it's this one here. So I want to make sure they didn't unhook something they weren't supposed to unhook. The one that's labeled over there is 3-phase breaker with 3 wires, even though it says it's only supposed to have 2. Trying to use just 2 phases off that breaker. It is using all 3, so that tells me it's not that unit, because that unit only has 2 phases. So I'm over here just taking stuff apart, figuring it out. That breaker goes to nothing. Alright, so what I did after going through those panels twice, and they kept saying it was the only panels, I went to the other side of this wall. They have a junction box up here. It says labeled panel C, which tells me there's 3 panels. So we went and found the panel, and there was a breaker tripped. So now we got to figure out why this breaker's tripped. I don't want to turn this on and trip the breaker again. I'm going to make sure we got voltage now so we're on the right track. And then I'm going to start ohming out to ground things, compressor, other things like that. Yep, we have voltage. Sweet. Okay. So now, start ohming out some things. The best way, I'm going to start with the compressor, I think. Because I don't see any burnt ends. I don't see anything here. It happened here, I would check. I don't see nothing. So, alright. Man, it is a lot of work locating that breaker. Guy was about to call electrical company. I'm like, no, it's something else. It's got to be going on. Thank goodness I didn't give up. That would have been embarrassing. Okay, so disconnect. This is the best way to test this compressor. Disconnect the plug. We're gonna go to ohms. We're gonna ohm out to ground. So I'll kind of like shave a little bit of this here, get a good connection. So I'm not getting anything. So now we're going to ohm out to each other. Ohms there. Ohms there. Ohms there. Okay. So it's not shorted to ground, but the fan could be. So we're going to check the fan motor now, and that one I'm just going to check at the wires. So let's put this back together after I plug the compressor back in, because that would be a rookie mistake. Oh my goodness. While I'm under here, while I'm in this condenser, check, because sometimes they'll rub against the copper and stuff, rub against all that. That all looks good. It could just be a power surge. You can always just turn it on, see if it trips instantly, but just save on any other repairs. Going to diagnose. Okay, so I'm going to keep it in ohms and resistance and just kind of check everything to ground. So I'm going to poke that in there. No, good, 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 good. I don't see nothing. Nothing shorted to ground. Alright, so nothing shorted. So now I'm going to go to amp draw. I want to change this to max, so it'll capture the max amp draw on startup. We're going to do this. Oh yeah, that could be our issue right there. We've got 107 amp startup. Surprised it didn't trip the breaker just then. The max rating for this thing is you're going to look here, you're going to look for lock rotor amps, LRA. The new stuff, refrigerant's going to be labeled differently, so you got to pay attention. But let's see where we're at. There's your compressor. 144, so it's not quite maxed, but it's still pretty 107, still pretty high. 24 run load amps, so we'll check the run load amps. 24, and we're good. That's under. So I'll probably just recommend a hard start, just to bring it down a little bit, but it is within range, so they necessarily don't need it. But if it does keep spiking and having trouble starting up like that, then I definitely recommend a hard start to make this thing last longer. But we figured it out. I didn't see anything with the wires. I don't see, there's nothing. We'll put it back together and give her the bill. And no, I did not forget, guys. I am checking pressure right now. Our pressures look good to go. For instance, if the thermal overload happened because it's low in refrigerant, which it can, refrigerant cools that compressor. So if it's low, it could still go out on thermal, not because it's overcharged, because it's undercharged. If that overload could have popped, hit maybe the shell, that could have tripped the breaker, something like that. And if it reset after being off for so long, so that's why I'm checking pressures, just to be sure. So, but right now, she looks good. And the pressures are good. And I didn't forget. I try to do everything to cover my own butt. So I parked my van in the sun and I am sweating right now. But anyways, I finished that call. I'm not going to charge him because we were just here a few days ago and the note said he checked both systems and he didn't say anything about a breaker tripped. So I'm going to write it down as a callback for now. And I gave him a warning. If it keeps happening, it could be compressor failing or it could be that breaker upstairs. I told him to get an electrical company out. Just do like a heat scan and make sure there's no loose connections or something making that breaker trip. Loose connections will overheat breakers. They'll trip that way too. So that could be the issue. Everything seemed tight when I was in there, but you never know. So why not send an electrical company out just to do a maintenance, do what they do. But that is it. I'm going to call this one complete. Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, we'll see ya.